In our last session, we read a letter from a woman who said that her fiancé was an occasional pot smoker. Her concern was that he often lied about his drug use, and she didn't know whether it would be unreasonably controlling for her, a problem she had had in past relationships, to insist that he be drug-free for a year before they got married. First, I applauded her willingness to talk about her tendency to be controlling in relationships. Now, back to the writer of the letter. Before we talk about your response to your fiancé's drug use, let's first talk about why he uses drugs. After studying real love, I think you already know why. He's unhappy. He doesn't have enough real love in his life, and in order to dull the pain he feels, he uses drugs. It doesn't work for long, but the drugs do make him feel better for a moment. Drugs are the only reliable form of pain relief he's probably ever found. And then you come along and tell him that you want him to give that up. It's not very likely that he'd be happy about that, is it? So you can see why he wouldn't like your even talking to him about his drug use. You can also see why he'd lie to you about it. If he's empty and afraid to begin with, he couldn't bear you confronting him and possibly withdrawing your approval. So to prevent that, he lies about what he's doing because he knows that what he's doing is wrong. He wants to keep your approval. He needs every bit of imitation love he can get. Now, what about the love you're giving him? Shouldn't that be enough to eliminate his emptiness and fear? Well, possibly. But there are two major problems with that. First, you're just learning about real love. So at this point, you wouldn't be very experienced at loving him unconditionally. When he screws up, like when he lies to you about his drug use, you'd have a strong tendency to go back to old behavior patterns and become empty and afraid yourself. You'd have a tendency to become critical and angry, which he'd hear as the same old "I don't love you" message he's heard all his life. And then everything goes downhill from there. Second, your boyfriend is dealing with a lifetime of not feeling loved, which means he has a lot of healing to do. It will take quite a bit of love from you before his emptiness and fear go away enough that he'll be able to consistently tell you the truth about himself instead of lying about the things he's ashamed of, like his drug use. So we've established that your boyfriend is empty and afraid. That's why he uses drugs. He'll also need quite a bit of love from you before he'll stop lying to you. Your relationship will need a lot of real love before it can become healthy. But now we're to the real questions you're asking, which are these. Should you even stay in this relationship? Is it worth it? Do you have a right to put restrictions on who he is? If so, what should you say? And we'll get to these questions in our next session.